It's New Year's Eve. I'm traveling to Phoenix, Arizona. I was there mere weeks ago, seeing the Grand Canyon, visiting a butterfly sanctuary, and seeing my mom for what would be the last time. All right, so how would you define grief?
Okay, great question.
Grief means deep sorrow, especially that caused by someone's death.
Grief has a lot of feelings inside of it that make it up. Grief is a journey, and it's going to be a little bit different for everyone. Grief is a natural response to loss.
So what is loss?
The fact or process of losing something or someone.
That doesn't really encompass it.
What are you doing?
Mom?
I'm afraid we've lost him. Mrs. Pearson, your husband has died.
Loss has been described as yeah. Sounds about right.
We want to process through the pain of the grief. And like we talked about, that can come and go and shift over time.
So I get to the hospital to see my mom, right? And I sit down with her. She realizes that I'm in the room. She tells me she loves me. I tell her I love her too. This is something that we've been playing since I was a kid. Where we try to one-up each other on who loves each other more. And she starts playing it with me, right? And then the nurse comes in to talk about when we should unplug her. And I never get to finish that game with her, because that was the last time she talked, was just before that nurse came in.
When my mother died, this was before I was a Buddhist. And one of the things that, I would always call, I lived in Philadelphia, she was in North Carolina, and I would call, usually on the weekend, and we would chat, and people would, if I had friends who were over and stuff like, who was that? And I told it to my mom, and she said, well, you guys sounded like you were talking to your best friend. And I said, well, yeah, of course, my mom, right? When she died, it was one of the things that was difficult to kind of like deal with, was I couldn't pick up the phone and call her. That was really, it took me quite a while.
Loss and grief is non-linear. Sometimes it's blips that stop you in your tracks.
I don't understand how this all happens. How we go through this. I mean, I knew her, and then there's just a body. And I don't understand why she just can't get back in it and not be dead anymore. It's stupid.
Locking yourself in your car and listening to a sad song. Making their signature dish on their favorite holiday, even if it wasn't that fancy. Maybe it's just thoughts of death.
And the way in which people, are exposed to the Dharma, and the way in which they interact with the Dharma is to prepare oneself for, the ultimate interview, because everybody faces that at some point.
Ho, ho, ho. Welcome to heaven. It's nice to see you, Stephen. Now, it's just a formality. Have to see if you've been naughty or nice. Let's see, pull up the computer here. Looks like you watched Dirty Dancing. It's gonna be a no for us, dog.
I knew I should have listened to my Sunday school teacher. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, great. I'm in hell.
I know it doesn't look like much, but I think you're gonna like it here.
So, now what do we do?
I have an idea.
So how do you deal with loss?
When someone dies, there are certain kinds of pujas, prayers that are done. Let's say the person died on Tuesday. So the next week, that Monday, we would do a certain prayer, and we would do that prayer for 7 days and dedicate the merit of that prayer for that person's positive reincarnation. The belief is that the person who has died has 49 days to take another rebirth. And it's during those 49 days that one is praying for an auspicious rebirth. This is another way by which gets people out of that traditional way of grieving and turn it into something positive, because you are focusing not on your feelings, but helping to benefit the other person, because grief isn't benefiting the other person. Grief is locked into some notion of self or attachment. But when you turn your attention to the other person, and what you want for the other person is to be happy and to have a good life, then you are not in yourself, in your feelings, but you are into them. And you're hoping and praying for them, which is a positive thing.
I used to work at a grief camp, and we would let kids, a lot of funeral, memorial, end of life stuff is made by adults for other adults, which I think is typical, right? That makes sense. And also, we don't necessarily think kids are up for stuff like that or should be included, and that's a separate conversation. But we at the end of camp would have a memorial that the kids could participate in, and usually they went up in groups, because we had them in groups throughout the weekend. But some kids wanted to go up as individuals, and they could do whatever they wanted. We just really tried to make it happen for them. So we had kids frost cakes, because that was something they did with their mom, or oftentimes they would, and this was devastating, they would stand up there and we would play a song that they wanted us to play, and they would just weep, and we all would bear witness to what was happening. And certain songs got to be where I would have to step out. I knew it was coming, and I was let me just take 3 minutes outside and I'll be back. But I think it was really powerful for them to get to have some agency,
There's this memory that I didn't realize that I had. I was working at Albertsons, and I was stocking cheese, putting cheese out on the shelf. Comes over the song of Amy Grant's Every Heartbeat. And suddenly I was transported back to when I was a kid and at Christmas. My parents had got me 2 albums that year. One, MC Hammer, Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em. The other one was Amy Grant. I didn't really have control over the radio, so I didn't know who Amy Grant really was. So I was just listening to MC Hammer over and over and over again.
You can't touch this.
Then my mom asked to borrow my Walkman and put on the Amy Grant tape. And then I realized, oh, this is the song that we would sing together while we were driving to eye doctor appointments or bringing me to school or whatever. I didn't know I had that memory, but it just became unlocked one day after hearing it while stocking shelves.
For some folks, the enduring connection is visiting the gravesite, or visiting the place where ashes were spread, or a place that, you know, you enjoyed together. For some people, it's like making sure that the things that that person loved are still in the house.
But nobody dies.
Okay.
Nobody goes into non-existence, because that would mean that if you exist, you can't do anything but exist. Right? You can't be non-existent.
It can look like a lot of things, but just because someone has died doesn't mean we don't care for them anymore. So it's natural to look for signs of them, and I think it's natural to want to be connected with them still, and that's why one of the things we do in grief therapy is find that enduring connection. It just, what that connection is looks different for everybody.
Being someone who has lost a parent, it never goes away. It is both very distant and very close all at the same time.
So grief work looks a little bit different for everybody.
I took up running. I literally started running from my grief. Up to 5K a month, which turned into half marathons. I did 3 half marathons in 1 year, one being a Spartan Beast. By the time I completed my last half marathon in September, my body just completely gave up and has made me have to deal with my emotions head on.
I think that a Buddhist who's practiced for a long time would not react that way, and would have a different understanding about what was taking place or what had happened. Is that they transitioned, they passed on.
So I'm walking by the gift card rack at work and suddenly realize I'm never going to get a Barnes & Noble gift card from her ever again. And then there was the time that her car was stolen, the car that she gave me when she passed. It was like losing her all over again.
When I'm working with someone who's dealing with grief, we're working on 4 things. These things don't necessarily happen in the order that I'm going to say them in, but these are the 4 things that we're working on. We want folks to be able to acknowledge the death, and then to process through the pain of their grief. We want people to be able to work through and create a new normal without the person who's died.
Because inevitably, everything is bittersweet. Christmas is bittersweet. She's not here. She's not. What? Like, I'm about to cry right now just talking about it.
And we want them to have an enduring connection with the person who died. So those are the things that we focus on in grief therapy.
The mountains that she would move for my kids. Like, that's
Unity. And so Buddhism is the Buddha Dharma and Sangha, the Buddha, the teacher, the Dharma, the teachings, and the Sangha is there to sort of help and support people, you know. So my job is not to force people to believe anything. My job is to lay it out. This is what we've been taught. This is what we've learned from the lineage masters. This is what they say you should do. It's your job to listen, and you decide whether or not it is something that resonates with you. If it doesn't resonate with you, it's your job to figure out what's going on.
So, the other thing that I'm finding out about grief is that you also have to let go.
Every day I think of you and all the things you used to do. I'm stuck here with eyes filled with tears, missing all the time we could have had it. Sometimes I'm so damn mad. You left us too soon. A part of me has never left that room. Watching you take that last breath, sliding slowly into death. Now my kids and I are missing you and all the things you used to do, and the games we used to play. You know, Stacko, the day away.
I think grief ties all of us together because it's something we're all going to go through.
And sometimes, like, you just need to feel it.
Wish to obtain a life for the benefit of all sentient beings. And encompassing that is loving kindness and compassion. So how am I a compassionate actor in the world? And that is something that one must evaluate and monitor every moment.
What happens is there's a lot of support at the beginning of the grief journey, like the first 1 to 3 months. It's easier to find that support. And then after that, the support becomes less frequent. And so if you want to support someone who is grieving, I would suggest being the person who checks in after that 3-month mark. Ask about the person who died, use their name, ask to hear stories about them, because that person is still very much present for your friend or your loved one.